For today's cup of coffee, we're supposed to have temperatures in the 90s this week, and we're thinking of like iced coffees.
It's hot as fuck. It's hot as fuck.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's not a horrible thing. I would rather do that than be freezing. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
We've waited.
Although I do like, sometimes, depends on my mood. I used to really like it when I was younger, where I was staying down at Dad's and I just had that thing basically cranked on high, and
Right.
it was like icicles hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah. The weather has been so strange. And even as far as people that have planted garden and different things like that, they have remarked how strange that, the fruits are not coming in at the correct time. Mm-hmm. And it has evermore felt autumn-ish for a month. Yeah. And then we go from that to these extreme heat. So that, I don't know. It's all weird.
And it was like super dark most of the day.
Yeah, it really was this morning. It was just, you thought it was going to storm, and no. Just weirdness. Of course, that's what we do, is discuss weirdness.
If we wanted to heat all the time, maybe we should move to Mexico.
No, I don't.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, but they've also got
Arizona.
Scorpions and stuff like that.
So does Arizona.
And tarantulas.
So does Arizona.
Yeah, I'd rather...
Although I have looked into Arizona. It doesn't seem like that bad of a place. It's just like sweltering.
Yeah, I don't know that I would deal with this. And everybody's like, but it's a dry heat. I don't know if the human body is going to respond that much differently to 100 and some degrees.
I mean, personally, I would prefer a dry heat over a damp heat.
Yeah, that's sweltering.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I would miss the mountains terribly. I don't know that I would do well in a desert climate at all.
Isn't there mountains in Arizona?
There are some places. I had an online friend that she was talking about there are parts of Arizona that it does, seasonal. They do get snow. I mean, it's not like these horrific snows, but we don't usually get horrific snows.
Yeah.
Our temperature is usually, our climate is pretty moderate. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. It's not horrible here at all. We don't usually have the extremes, and it's kind of rare, and I think everybody bitches when we do get them because it's unusual.
Yeah.
But people are going to bitch about something one way or the other.
Exactly. We got a special guest with us.
Yeah, we've got our little girl, Voodoo. She's...
Doo-doo.
Voodoo. And she could be a doo-doo sometimes.
Yeah.
But she did real well with the surgery and stuff, other than we had that one day when we first brought her home, and she had gotten a little ambitious, and we were concerned that she had eviscerated herself. Mm-hmm. But she's all better now.
Yeah.
So that has nothing to do with our cup of coffee. That's just chit chat.
She looks like a monster right now.
No, she's
half monster.
She's much. Her personality has gotten better since she first walked into the house.
Yeah.
And so we hope for further improvements. She likes jewelry.
She does like
She is our bling kitty.
She likes the funky jewelry.
Yeah. I think she's one of the few female kitties that we've had that are indoor kitties. Mm-hmm. And there's just something different about her, but I'm going to get her a collar that's got rhinestones or some shit on it.
She looks like a chupacabra.
And the bell. You gotta have the bell. She likes the bell.
She does.
It amuses her.
She also liked the funky jewelry, the beachy jewelry
that you had made for her.
And then gave to you because she was being an ass.
Yes. Yes, you took away her bling. Today we're going to be discussing something from Mysterious Universe. And I have found out that Mr. Swanser a lot of times takes his cues from Mr. Redfern. And as far as I know, this is primarily Nick Redfern's site, mm-hmm. and he's published quite a few books. I don't know about Mr. Swanser.
Just because he's a publisher or has published books does not mean he's that good of a writer.
Well, that's true too. But
there have been so many people out there that have wrote bad books.
well, that's true also. But now he focuses a lot.
You, Onion Boy.
He focuses a lot on the black-eyed children, UFOs. He does do quite a few things about cryptids.
I love the idea of black-eyed children. And back in the day, there was this thing called Sunshine Girl. It was this YouTuber, and we didn't know that it was an ARG. But yeah, that was an ARG. It was all fake, and it was
okay.
But it seemed so real,
right,
for a good hot minute.
We're not fake.
No,
this is just us.
Yeah,
I think that frightens people more.
I'm fine with that.
That's okay. But anyhow, he wrote this on June the 14th of 2022. And the article is entitled "A Secret Base in Puerto Rico, Chupacabras and More." And the link will be in the description box. I highly edited this article.
She did. She
which
spent
took
like
me
a good hour and a half on it.
Well, I don't know if it was that much, but it was like I had to take 2 smoke breaks while I was doing it. And I'm like, damn, dude.
You were on it for a hot minute.
I'm one of these that just write what, who, what, where, when, why, and how. That's it. You don't have to be flowery. You don't have to do... And I guess that's
it's not
just
a fucking poem.
My journalistic, as far as news type thing, which is how I try to present these stories.
Yeah.
You know, cut to the chase on it. So, yeah, this was highly edited, and I hope, because that I did not go back and retype the whole thing because I didn't want to take that much time. And so I hope I can, my little editing marks, hope that I can read those. Yeah. It's been a while to do that fully. Anyhow,
Loves it.
Somewhere within what Mr. Redfern has written, going to be talking about Puerto Rico, and in the mid-1990s, the phenomenon of the Chupacabra exploded across the islands. As far as can be determined, the menacing creature first surfaced in March of 1995 when numerous animals were found slaughtered in towns in central Puerto Rico. Now, the reason that this one has always interested me so much was huge Art Bell fan. And so when this came onto the scene and stuff, Art talked about this quite often.
We love Art Bell, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He was my radio hero.
I kind of wish that he was still alive, because who knows what he would talk about now.
But that's true. The only thing is, as far as his politics were totally opposite of mine.
Well, yeah, but that's, you just ignore those parts.
You do try to, but it's just like, there's some things that I'm like, dude, you were for this, wonder how you would like it. Because sometimes people's like, oh, if this person gets in the office, this is going to happen. And then the person gets in the office and people are like, oh, shit, I didn't see this. And it's like, it's because you weren't paying attention.
Right. That's a lot of those people. They just don't pay attention.
Well, instead of qualifications, it becomes a popularity contest, which is not the basis of any political office.
No.
Ever.
Shouldn't be.
No. So it just anyhow with this before I get into, because I'll get myself in trouble with people. The locals there in Puerto Rico were in near hysteria by the attacks, which reportedly left animals dead with strange marks on their necks and a lack of blood in the corpses. And since many of the early attacks were on goats, the term Chupacabra was created, which means goat sucker.
Yes.
And that some of
Oh my God, the amount that you had to leave out of there.
Yes.
Just for that little bit.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. Sitting here diligently. But, these animals were totally drained of blood. So that was one of the really interesting things. It says reports of strange killings soon began to surface from other parts of the island, and the death rate increased as far as the animals. The population was on edge, and the media had something new and sensational to report on.
We love sensationalism.
This was still while the weekly world news was a thing. Oh, God, I miss the weekly world news.
It's still a thing.
Is it just online? I don't think
you can buy actual papers online, but like...
I'll have to look. I think you told me that before, and I got distracted and never did get... Long live the Bat Boy.
Well, before I head up to the cabin, I will put it on your computer for you.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
If I can find it.
It says, what exactly was responsible for all the killings? Unfortunately, there was no solid eyewitness testimony relative to the killings. And then in August of 1995, a woman named Madeline Tolentino had finally come to the front, and she changed everything. Tolentino's description of the creature she encountered close to her mother's home was disturbing. She told journalists and researchers that the creature was around 3 foot in height, bipedal, ran in a weird hopping fashion, had large black eyes, bony fingers on each hand, overly long arms and legs, and a kind of feathery line running down its back. Now, a young boy who was employed by Tolentino's husband claimed that he saw the beast up close and maintained that the feathers were actually sharp spines. And the boy also said that the creature...
Like porcupines?
Maybe? Not sure.
Huh.
He also said that the creature had a mouthful of vicious-looking fangs.
Have you seen a cat's mouth?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are vicious-looking fangs.
Yeah.
There's quite a few creatures that have, look like that. So, it just... can you imagine how horrifying...
Did you know there's actually a condition where the follicles in a person's head, like something happened to it or whatever, and they grow spines rather than hair in certain places?
Oh, that's like a hedgehog?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be disturbing.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
you should look it up.
I will. This was the original description of the Chupacabra. It was not some coyote or dog with mange.
Right.
And it's like people have going on with that. It's like it's not a damn Chupacabra.
You know what mange is? It's mites.
Yes. It's a parasite.
Put spray on it.
It says, but let's get to the heart of today's article. Hangar 18, Area 51, the Dulce facility, the Blue Room, and S4 can all be considered as underground bases. There is, however, another facility that has a very strange history attached to it, and it's the now defunct Roosevelt Roads Naval Station on Puerto Rico, which is a facility that many people don't know about. The origins of Roosevelt Roads date back to just 1 year after the end of the First World War. In 1919, the Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Navy visited Puerto Rico, and that man was the future American President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And Roosevelt was focused on finding a suitable location where a military facility could be constructed that could act as a strategic outpost in the Caribbean. And Roosevelt toured the island, finally pinpointing a northeast town called Seba. Something like that.
Something.
It's something.
It's a thing.
It's time for her to screw up these words. At the time, while the creation of such a base with an airfield could have been beneficial, it was not perceived as crucial. But things changed dramatically when Hitler came into power in Germany, and steps had to be taken to combat the Nazi threat, one of which was the creation of Roosevelt Roads, which began in 1940, 1 year before the Pearl Harbor attack. Roosevelt Roads ultimately became the biggest U.S. Navy base and the headquarters of the U.S. Naval Forces Southern Command, the NAVSO, and it remained such for decades. Later, Roosevelt Roads became an alleged top-secret storage area.
Ooh.
That's important.
Yeah.
While on Puerto Rico in the late 1990s, one of the cryptozoologist John Downs' sources was a man named Reuben. And that I don't know why I kept thinking Dow Jones. My brain just was not. John Downs. And Reuben was a Puerto Rican brought up in New York, but he returned to the island as an adult. And John took... Reuben took John and UK Channel 4 TV's crew to a spot on the Canvas, I think that's right, where he claimed a UFO had crashed in 1957. Because this became confusing for me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyhow, there was also a story of a UFO crashing in the heart of the El Yunque rainforest in February of 1984. And for a lot of people, that's a huge jump between the Chupacabra and the UFOs. Mm-hmm. For others, they have known this connection, this reported connection for a long time. Supposedly, to prevent people from learning the truth of the matter of the UFO crash, a diversionary tactic was put into place where the UFO was a meteorite. Of course it was.
Of course.
And personnel from NASA, the U.S. Air Force, and the CIA were soon on the scene, in part to supposedly collect the remains of dead chupacabras.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, yeah.
Dang.
Why not? And
how often do they come across these things? It must be often enough.
We don't know. We have no clue. And says that there are claims that the bodies recovered from both the 1957 and the 1984 incidents were secretly transported to Roosevelt Roads for study and autopsy by senior U.S. Naval medical personnel in a deeply buried fortified bunker. Reportedly, at least some of the bodies were later taken to an unidentified military base in Florida. Now, Mr. Redfern, of the author here, while on Puerto Rico in 2005 with Paul Kimball and his Red Star Films crew and their guide Orlando was filmed talking about a 1990s area event in which the U.S. military forces reportedly captured several extremely vicious chupacabra in El Yunque. So that was where that other UFO was supposed to have crashed.
Yeah.
And the creatures were purportedly at Roosevelt Roads and then flown onto the United States in secure cages. Well, I would hope they would put them in a cage.
Yeah.
Aboard a military aircraft.
La Chupacabra.
You really?
La Chupacabra.
It says, and then there was a 2010 story of alleged classified experiments undertaken on monkeys and apes in an underground facility at the base.
Loves it.
Well, I mean, my God, those poor primates they have tortured and experimented on for decades.
I know, hence the sarcastic love.
Yeah, I mean,
that's fucked up.
It has always been fucked up.
Animal testing in general just does not seem. It's not ethical. It's never felt right.
No, it's not ethical at all. And it says, was Roosevelt Roads really a Puerto Rican equivalent of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base's Dulce Base? And Mr. Redfern, he was going through and he talks to the locals and he was having a good time. He was at bars, he was at restaurants, he was doing all this stuff. And this was probably a tax write-off for him.
Probably.
I don't blame him. That was a smart move, Mr. Redfern. If we could do that, we would do it too. It says that he came across a rumor of a vast cavernous underground tunnel deep below Roosevelt Roads. And when the military left in 2004, that it neglected to tell the people of Seba that something was on the loose in those tunnels and that it had escaped from its confines, which was a violent pack of Chupacabra.
Yeah.
And the military, Mr. Redfern was informed, took the approach that they were out of there and that the creatures were now Seba's problem and not theirs should they ever surface.
The hell they say.
And so, was this just a story? We don't know. Now, that's, I have heard other people talk about a connection between Bigfoot and UFOs. So it wouldn't, it's not that far of a stretch between the Chupacabras and the UFOs. Personally, I have always believed that it was some kind of an experiment, like a chimera experiment or something, that escaped. I have believed that since first heard the story. And knowing what we know now, and we have no clue of what kind of monstrosities that these scientists have created over the years.
Right. That came out more forceful
okay.
than I thought.
Well, that's just like, you know, we were talking with your brother there last night. We have, with the CRISPR technology and stuff like that, and they make it sound great. They really do. But then some of this other stuff with the chimeras and with them gene splicing, and we have no clue what we are eating.
The movie Splice.
Well, I mean, why?
I think that's the right movie.
Why would you have to have insect or anything else spliced with food?
Well, you shouldn't.
Vegetables, you know, any of that mess.
Now I understand, like, the people who live in the countries who eat bugs and such like that, because certain bugs are kosher.
Locust.
Yeah.
There was locust.
Yeah. But, like, that should not be in people's everyday food. That can make people, like, really, really sick.
Absolutely can make them really sick, and that very well may be part of the problem with the...
That's why people need to start growing their own shit.
Yeah. But even then, it's a matter of finding seeds that have not been tainted, and you don't know...
Local farmers.
Yeah, but they have to get the seeds somewhere. I mean, and when it's these... And it says genetically modified. With what?
So you have to look up, like, non-genetically modified, non-GMO seeds.
And you're assuming that they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as this, we think about the GMOs being just other plants or whatever. We have no clue.
No. None at all.
You know, and some of these other countries where this stuff is not prevalent, and they are like, okay, why is it that they're having all these autoimmune disorders? Why are they having difficulties with obesity and different things like that? There's a lot of reasons that people here in America can be having health issues, severe ones.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of chemicals that we still use, even in our food, that are banned in other countries.
Absolutely.
Most countries, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, this Agenda 21 thing, and we have not covered that because it's depressing as fuck.
Yeah.
Which includes the depopulation thing. Now, that's real. Check Alex Jones for some of that stuff because he on it. You can still find his stuff on, I think it's band.com, and they upload a lot of his things on BitChute. He's been talking about this stuff for like 20 years. I mean, some of these things he really has been there, and he's, you know, and so is David Icke.
Yeah.
But this stuff, as far as this depopulation, I mean, hell, Bill Gates has been very forthcoming about it.
Not only Bill Gates, there's other people that...
Oh, you've got Klaus Schwab and all these other ones, and the Zuckerberg, and...
I was about to mention... he looks like a fucking android.
He does look like an android. But, so, would it surprise me that they created Chupacabras, or that there are alien races that are here, or coming here... have been here. I think there's lots of people that believe that.
I think in Japan it's actually illegal to make clones.
If somebody catches them.
Yeah.
And you got to realize there are lots of countries that are not under the same... Well, of course they don't have the same laws about, you know, the chimeras, or the same ethics necessarily.
Right.
Just because somebody can do a thing doesn't mean they should do a thing.
Right.
And that's the problem with the transhumanism and stuff like that. It's like to create cyborgs.
Yeah.
It's all messing with God's design. So it's just like it's twisted.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea of the Chupacabras more. La Chupacabra, la Chupacabra.
Well, like I said, I'm glad that he went back to the original description of it. It's not a damn dog with mange.
No. It's got spines, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a totally different, you know, sort of
I wonder if it's like the
reptilian-esque thing.
See, that's what I was going to say. Or I'm wondering if it's like somehow they put like the DNA of certain dinosaurs, because you know certain dinosaurs had these like spine things on it.
Well, you know, those different reptiles look different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
they spiny lizards now.
That's true. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if if they took something. You know, there are people that say that dinosaurs are actually a real thing, and I did misspeak when I said dinosaurs earlier. Like, as far as the splicing, I meant to say lizards, but I was thinking of dinosaurs.
That's all right.
There are people that claim dinosaurs are still around.
I've heard that before. And, I mean, that's some of these very remote places, these islands and stuff like that. There have been sightings that very well could have been the pterodactyls. Was talking to somebody online today about the possibility, Loch Ness. There has to be some kind of an outlet to the ocean and stuff. And for me, it's always, and if I'm incorrect about that, please let me know. But it would not be that far out of the realm of possibility that if there is an opening to the ocean and stuff, that these creatures could come and go.
Yeah.
That they were not in the loch all the time. So we don't know. And again, like we spoke yesterday about the deep ocean, we have no clue
No.
what is down there.
Not at all. Could
So
be aliens.
there have been
There are
sightings of alien, under these
but no,
underwater craft.
no joke though. There have been like prehistoric fish or things that have been found from the deep ocean.
Well, the supposed experts that claim that some of these things are extinct, and then later some of these things are found, and they're like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
And yet people still act like everything they say is written in stone. No.
Exactly. It's all subject to change.
Right.
So,
The science.
much like plants.
It's a matter of who is doing the science and why they're doing the science.
Science.
So, but yeah, the chupacabra.
La chupacabra.
And I may look for a figurine of a chupacabra, because you're right. You're like, how is it we don't have a representation of that? And I'm like, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So there's things that we need to shop online. And that and the blobfish.
That's because we have a chupacabra right here. She's biting my toes.
We need a blobfish and a chupacabra.
Yeah.
There's other things. It's just that. And as far as coffee mugs, there's a lot of designs I would like to have on a coffee mug, but I don't want to pay the money for these damn little 9-ounce mugs. Hate them.
I am
Hate
willing-
them.
When I get a job, no joke, I am willing to drop $80 for a good replica blobfish.
Blobfish.
Yeah. The silicone replicas of the blobfish.
Yeah.
But I want the devil one. I want the one with the little horns that's red.
We need to find a supplier that makes 20-ounce mugs on a consistent basis with different designs.
Why don't we make our own business?
Because that's a really difficult thing as far as making a coffee mug. It's not as easy as you would think. It's really not.
I know. I watch people make them.
Yeah, and as far as the glazing and all that bunch of stuff, so yeah.
Well, I was thinking that we could just buy a bunch of blank mugs and
Right.
do what the people do with tumblers, the drink tumblers.
Right.
And they just use like epoxy shit, and they have this thing that spins, and yeah, they do all sorts of designs, and it's actually really fucking cool.
But is it non-toxic?
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to use these.
It has to be non-toxic
Yeah.
for them to be sold.
And I will tell you
And to be
anything,
usable.
some of these things that are made in other countries and stuff with different glazes, I always make sure that they are food safe, because there are some places that they may say that they are, but they're not. And there are actually test kits that you can get as far as to make sure that a food surface is non-toxic.
Mm-hmm. I actually went to beauty school with a woman who had like a little side business of making the tumblers.
Okay.
And I'm like,
He's talking about the drinking tumblers, not the website.
yeah. And I'm like, I could commission you to make me an alien one.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be way cool. Anyhow, we have Kat that is messing with things, so I guess that's
She was biting my toes.
That's a good stopping point. If you have She's messing with me. If you
She fell. She had fumbled.
experiences with the paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, chupacabras.
Wild cats.
If you
Chupacabra cats.
have local, regional, or family myths or legends. And it was just like Mr. Redfern, where he got the tip on that one thing by somebody in a bar. Mm-hmm. So keep your ears open. Listen to people's. You may learn stuff.
Ask around.
Sure. And you can email us at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the email will also be in the description box. Know that you're loved. Keep pondering great ponders.
Yes.
And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. This cat is about to tear everything apart.
Yes. This is why I usually put them out before we video.
She was doing good.
It doesn't
for the
matter.
most video.
It doesn't matter. They have the attention span of like a 3-year-old.
They are perpetual 3-year-olds.
It's like living
Until they get like 20-some-year-olds.
It's like living in a kindergarten class 24/7. It really is. Anyhow, you all have a beautiful, blessed day. We'll see you on the next cup. Bye.